One of the most common uses of ratios and proportions is in cooking. So let's take a look at a couple of recipes where we're going to have to know something about fractions. All right? We're going to see a lot of problems like this. And here's the way we're going to solve all of them. Okay? This question only applies. It's only asking about one ingredient in this honey mustard salad dressing recipe. So what's the ingredient? The ingredient is sugar, and so I'm only interested in the sugar. I can ignore all the other ingredients. Now, what do I want to do with that 3/4 of a cup? I'm sorry, of a teaspoon, of a tablespoon. Miss Trencher, read it correctly. Okay, I want to find what half of it is, because if you make half of the recipe, you have to take half of each ingredient. So I want half of 3/4. Well, in math, when we're dealing with fractions, the word of means times. So I'm just going to multiply 1/2 times 3/4. And that would be 1 times 3, numerator times numerator, 2 times 4, denominator times denominator, and that gives us 3/8. So for half of this recipe, we're going to need 3/8 of a tablespoon of sugar. Now let's look at another one. Whoops, it's marked there for some reason. Okay, let's look at a recipe for spicy hot wing sauce. Okay, what ingredient are we looking for? Salt. So I'm just going to circle salt. That's the only thing I'm interested. I don't care about anything else. So I want, what fraction of the original recipe? I want 1/3. So I want 1/3 of 3/4, which is going to be 1/3 times 3/4. And that's going to be 1 times 3 over 3 times 4, which is going to give me 3/12. Well, I can simplify that. So there's this little thing called upside down division, which we sometimes use to simplify fractions. They have a 3 in common. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So I am going to need 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now, that should make sense, because if I'm starting with 3/4 and I want 1/3 of that, 1/3 of 3 is going to be 1. So that tells me that I want to have 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And that's the way we do these problems. Okay, so we focus on the one ingredient, circle it. What fraction of the original recipe do we want? Okay, and then we take that fraction of the original quantity, which means we multiply.